If you ask 100 people to picture a weirdo, over 95% will picture a man. But here's the real question. What if that weirdo was you on a date without even realizing it? Maybe the conversation went quiet for no reason. Maybe they seemed interested, then suddenly weren't. Maybe you replayed it later and thought, what did I even do wrong? The answer isn't bad luck, it's biology. Your brain, and theirs, runs on a prediction system. And on a first date, that system is working overtime. Today, I'm breaking down the exact science behind why people come across as off on dates, using 3 real psychological patterns. By the end, you'll know exactly which one might be sabotaging you, and more importantly, how to flip it into something that makes you more attractive, not less. Let's start with pattern 1, the nervous system mismatch. Picture this. You're on a date. They ask a simple question, something easy like, "Do you come here a lot?" And somehow your answer comes out stiff, flat, a beat too late. Here's what's actually happening in your brain. Under stress, you stop sharing freely. Your mind quietly assumes the other person isn't really interested, so it holds back details instead of offering them. Psychologists call this the conversation paradox. With a close friend, your thoughts spill out naturally. With someone you're trying to impress, that same brain suddenly slams the door shut. And it gets worse. When you're nervous, your body sends mixed signals. You might smile at the wrong moment, laugh when nothing's funny, keep your hands tense during a relaxed conversation. None of this is intentional, but the other person's brain doesn't know that. Here's the deeper reason this matters. Human brains are wired to detect mismatch. A 2016 study found that when someone's words, expressions, and body language don't line up, we read it as unpredictable. And unpredictable, to a brain built for survival, feels unsafe. It's the difference between your friend laughing loudly after a joke and a stranger doing the same thing while walking toward you. Same behavior, completely different read. Because with your friend, you can predict why. With a stranger, you can't. So on a date, when your nerves create that mismatch, even briefly, you're accidentally triggering the same ancient alarm system that's supposed to protect someone from danger. Not because you're dangerous, because you're unreadable. The fix isn't to act calm. It's to simply say what you're actually feeling instead of filtering it. "Sorry, I get a little nervous when I like someone," lands completely differently than silence. It closes the gap your brain was trying to hide. Pattern 2, the appearance mismatch. This one isn't about being unattractive, it's about something more specific. Our brains are built to notice anything that breaks the pattern of normal human face. Not because different is bad, because unpredictable visual signals make it harder to read someone's emotions in real time. Think about someone who's overdone it with filters, edits, or alterations to the point where their expressions feel slightly stiff or hard to track. It's not that we consciously think something is wrong here, it's that our brain, on a primal level, has spent thousands of years learning to associate unusual or inexpressive features with illness and therefore with distance. Keep away, stay safe. This is where the uncanny valley comes in. It's the strange dip in comfort we feel when something looks almost human, but not quite. A cartoon doesn't bother us, but a face that's real, just slightly off, sticks with us in an unsettling way. Here's the practical version of this for dating. It's not about looking perfect, it's about looking readable. Clear, natural expression, good basic care, sleep, grooming, hygiene, all the unglamorous stuff. Studies consistently link those simple factors, not extreme transformation, to how approachable someone seems. Predictability builds trust, and trust is the entire foundation of attraction. So if pattern 1 was about hiding your nerves, pattern 2 is about not hiding your face. Let people actually read you. That's what makes you feel safe to be around.
Now, here's where this story takes a turn, because so far everything I've described sounds like a warning. Don't be unpredictable. Don't be hard to read. But pattern 3 flips all of that on its head.
Let me tell you about a kid who broke almost every rule I just mentioned. As a child, he avoided other kids. He played alone. He didn't speak a full sentence until he was 3 or 4 years old. When he finally did talk, his parents were relieved. Finally, he seemed normal. They couldn't have been more wrong. He developed a habit of repeating phrases to himself 2 or 3 times in a row. He became obsessed with compasses. He caused problems at school. As a teenager, he made up his own rule: no socks, ever. For most of his life, he tried to fit in, and for most of his life, people saw him as a weirdo. So eventually, he stopped trying. He let his hair grow out messy. He stopped pretending to be like everyone else. He fully accepted who he was. That kid was Albert Einstein. And the strange part isn't that people eventually accepted his weirdness, it's that they ended up loving him for it. A 2011 psychological study explains exactly why. When someone does something unusual, but shows a little embarrassment, humor, or awareness about it, other people read that as a sign they understand social norms. That awareness builds trust. It says, I know this is different, and I'm choosing it anyway. But when someone acts strange and behaves like nothing happened, it sends the opposite signal. It suggests they don't understand the rules at all, and that's what actually reads as creepy. In other words, weirdness was never really the problem. Obliviousness was the problem. This is the part competitors miss when they talk about this topic. They treat being different as something to minimize. But research on creativity tells a completely different story. People who feel like outsiders, who don't fit neatly into one group, consistently score higher on what psychologists call integrative complexity. That's the ability to hold conflicting ideas at once and still make sense of them. It's strongly linked to better communication and more interesting conversation, which, on a date, is exactly what keeps someone engaged. There's also a memory effect at play. Psychologists call it the von Restorff effect, sometimes nicknamed the Lady Gaga effect. Picture a list of ordinary words with one wildly unexpected name dropped in the middle. That one name is the only thing you'll remember an hour later. Same principle applies to people. A little bit of distinct, self-aware weirdness is what makes you memorable after a date ends instead of forgettable. So here's the real takeaway. There are 3 patterns at play whenever someone comes across as weird. A nervous system mismatch, where your words and body language don't line up. An appearance mismatch, where you're harder to read than you realize. And the one that actually matters most, awareness. Whether you know what makes you different and whether you're willing to own it instead of hide it. The goal was never to disappear into normal. It was to become readable and a little memorable on purpose. If this changed how you think about that one date that didn't go the way you expected, let me know in the comments which pattern hit closest to home. Next time, I'm breaking down the exact opposite problem. What happens when someone is too predictable on a date, and why that can kill attraction just as fast.